Everybody. Hi.
Hi, welcome.
This is our very first Cambly Kids YouTube live stream. Woo! So this is for people who are interested in Cambly Kids, tutoring with Cambly Kids. What's the difference? How do I do it? All that. We will have some live streams in the future for those of you who are already with Cambly Kids. But this one is for those of you who are not already Cambly Kids. So we're going to give you the basics and how to submit a profile and some tips to help you do your best.
Yes, lots of great tips coming your way. But first, let's just, hello, everyone. Welcome. It's nice to have you come on in, grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable. Give us, a shout out in the comments. Where are you watching from? Do you have any questions? We'll be doing a Q&A later towards the end of this live stream. So let us know if you have any questions. Where are you tutoring from? Are you already a Cambly Kids tutor? Are you a prospective Cambly Kids tutor? What's your story?
So speaking of what's your story, and where are you from? Where are you from? What's your story?
I don't know. No, I'm kidding. So my name is Crystal. I'm from the great state of North Carolina in the USA, but I am currently living in and teaching from Alicante in Spain.
Wow.
And you, what about you?
So I'm in North Carolina, but I'm from West Virginia. I've moved all over the place. And my name is Gale. So how did you get started with Cambly?
Well, it's funny. I've wanted to be a teacher, specifically an English teacher, for as long as I can remember, ever since I was a kid. I would walk around when I was, what are you going to be when you grow up? And everybody's like, I'm going to be president. I'm going to be a teacher. That was me. I was that person. So I went to university. I got my bachelor's degrees in English and in Spanish. But like many people, I had a hard time finding a job with my degree after I graduated. My big problem was I didn't have a vehicle at the time. So I didn't really believe that work from home opportunities existed, not legitimate ones anyway, but I did some searching, and that's how I got into online ESL teaching. I started with a different company Great way to get my foot in the door, great company, but unfortunately it wasn't a great fit for me. There were lots of, required hours. We'll tell you when you work. This is your schedule. You can't change your schedule, for example. And I travel a bit, obviously. So I needed to be able to change my schedule on a whim, or take a week off if I needed a week off, for example. So I started looking around for other companies. I eventually transitioned to a different company. And again, great company, great experience. This company was geared more towards children in a specific area. But again, it wasn't the perfect fit for me because they, catered to one area of the world, as I'm sure many tutors watching will know, because they catered to one area of the world. There were no hours available after like 8 a.m. EST. I am not a morning person, so I was not getting up at like midnight to do classes. That just wouldn't work for me. And props to any of you who do that, because that's not me. I couldn't do it. So I just needed something to supplement. I would get up as early as I could. But I needed something to supplement those hours because I just wasn't making enough money just doing, maybe 3 or 4 hours in the morning. So I got pretty lucky. My fiance is also an ESL teacher, a certified ESL teacher. And so he started looking into online companies, and he found Cambly. He told me, great company, you'll love it. They even have a kids platform. I was like, oh yeah, cool. So I gave it a try, and I guess he was right, because here I am.
Well, that's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's a neat way to find it.
Yeah. What about you? How did you find Cambly?
Well, I also was, traveling. I was living abroad at the time. I was living in Thailand. And then my mom started to have some health problems and needed several surgeries. And I decided it would be best for me to come back to America, be a full-time caregiver for her while she recovered. And she's doing great now, by the way. But I needed, yeah, I needed something that was super flexible, because I had to be able to kind of, build a schedule around, doctor's appointments, surgeries, and also just helping with, post-op stuff. So, I remember, also, I lived in the middle of nowhere. So, my opportunities were kind of limited as far as, what I could do. And so I remember, one day I was just sitting on my couch and watching some K-dramas, and kind of like halfway looking through Pinterest to try to find, jobs for people who, stay at home, full-time caregivers, that kind of thing, that are flexible, doesn't require a degree, that kind of thing. And I didn't think I was going to find anything, but I did. Cambly kept popping up. And the more I read about it, the more I thought, this could really work. This could really suit me. I remember my grandpa always told me, "Oh, you're going to be a teacher." But so anyway, I tried it, and I submitted an application, got my response back, and started the next day. And it was really, really exciting. I really, really liked it. Yeah, so it's been a really good experience. And then as far as Cambly Kids goes, I think I started Cambly in I want to say it was 2017. And then, yeah, I'm old. So, so then after that, Cambly Kids at that time was invitation only. It was new, and I wanted to do it. And finally, I got the invitation. And so, I did my Cambly Kids profile and demo, and started doing that, and I really liked it. I really liked it. In fact, I kind of transitioned into almost entirely Cambly Kids. Yeah, so that's my story. So
I remember that. I remember Cambly Kids being, invitation only. Yeah, I think I started in 2019. So you're older than I am in that way.
Yeah, yeah. I can't,
But in
it's
every
all
way
kind of
that
mixing.
counts, not.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but lately I can't tell. I'm like, when year, what year, when year, what year was that? It's all mixing together. So, so
Yes.
what about now? What are you doing on Cambly now?
Well, I'm still actively tutoring adults and kids. I'm mostly, regulars only, reservation only at this point.
Mhm.
Again, like I said, I joined in 2019. I think I went to Cambly Kids about a month later, or I was invited to Cambly Kids about a month later. And then I want to say maybe a year ago, sort of more recently, I started working in support, sort of behind the scenes with Cambly. So I'm doing a bit of quality work, helping tutors be the best that they can be. And again, I think I've been doing that for about a year now, give or take a little bit. And how
Yeah,
about you? Are you still actively tutoring on Cambly? What are you doing?
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. So similar to you, I'm at this point regulars only. Um, I still tutor a little bit on Cambly Kids and a little bit on Cambly Classic, but like you, I think a little more than a year ago, I also came behind the scenes. So I'm doing support and quality and, like you said, helping to just give some tips and hey, here's how you can improve, and this is awesome, and you're doing a great job with this, and so it's awesome to get feedback. I really like to get feedback myself, and also I'm part of the onboarding team, so I'll be able to give you some little tips and let you know what we're looking for, and yeah, so that's what we're doing.
Exactly. So basically everybody watching, if you want to know how to get on to Cambly Kids, this is the person to ask. This is a great person to get some advice from.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get all that. So keep submitting your questions, and hopefully we'll answer as many as we can. Yeah.
It looks like we've had, several more people come in. Welcome, everybody say hello. Give us a shout. Hi, where are you from? Are you currently a Cambly tutor? Are you a Cambly Kids tutor? Are you coming from, another company? Have you ever tutored English online before? Let us know. Give us a shout out in the comments. And I guess we'll go ahead and get started. I think everyone's, coming on in. So let's go ahead and get started with what is Cambly Kids? Big mystery.
What's the difference? So we've got Cambly Kids and Cambly Classic. So, what are the differences?
Yeah, well, they're basically two separate platforms, same company, two separate platforms. Cambly, as you know, it's a platform where students can practice their English with a one-on-one with a native speaker. You can have students from anywhere all over the world, and it's the same with Cambly Kids. But Cambly Kids is more geared towards students who are 4 to 15 years old. We have a more set curriculum, a curriculum more geared, towards children. All lessons on Cambly Kids are 30 minutes, as opposed to Cambly, where you can have, a 5-minute, 60-minute session. And they're by reservation only. And the pay is higher on Cambly Kids as well. So you're getting paid 20 cents per minute that you're speaking to students, and that equals about $12 per hour on Cambly Kids.
Okay, well, that's a definite pro.
Oh yeah.
Higher pay, that's always good, and very reservation based. So that's really good, fills up your reservation. So now, when we're on that topic, what would you say to you, since we've both done like Cambly Classic and Cambly Kids? What are the pros to Cambly Kids for you?
Well, I would say for me, it's the worldwide students. I'm coming from other ESL companies where, it was a very limited student base, limited hours, and I get to, set my own schedule. I can supplement, earnings from another company, whatever time, because we have multiple countries, multiple time zones represented. But there's another side to that pro, and that is meeting children, especially from other countries and other cultures. I learn just as much from these kids on a daily basis as they learn from me.
Yes.
What about you?
True. like you said, those kids, right? So you get really connected to them, and you can see them grow from. I remember, a student I still have now. She started out, didn't know all the ABCs, and now she's reading full sentences. So to be able to see somebody progress like that and grow in their language and just grow as a human, it's a very special thing, and you're part of the family. When I get a cold and they know it, I sometimes the parents will send to me little things like, drink this type of tea and I hope you feel better. And that's really special. Maybe the kid makes an art project at school for you and shows you. That's, that's so rewarding. Um, you know, Sometimes they'll take you on vacation, hey,
Oh,
we're at
yeah.
this place, look around, and that's awesome. Right.
Yeah.
So you get to see more of a culture, I think, because you get to see a culture through a child's eyes. And I think there's, child's eyes are probably some of the best, as far as
I
seeing the world.
completely agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever get sort of passed around between family members? Because you do
Yeah.
become like part of the family. You get
Yeah.
passed around.
Sometimes. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. 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 And, family members, new kittens, I see all of it. Yeah. Yeah. So, with pros, with cons. So that does happen. When you're dealing with kids, that's going to require more energy. So as exciting as it is to deal with kids, it also, as every parent or older sibling or, aunt and uncle know, kids require a lot of energy. So, that's something to think about, but you can still mix with adults. Just because you're on Cambly Kids does not mean you can't do some classes with Cambly Classic. So a lot of Cambly Kids tutors really like to just every now and then have an adult class, so that you get a little adult conversation here and there, because it's helpful to balance the energy levels, right?
Right.
Because kids can be very, playful, and so you have to balance that as well. And you're doing a lot of TPR and gestures, and that can be draining. I mean, honestly,
Yeah.
But that's okay. When you just learn about yourself, and learn what you can do and where you need to take breaks and the self-care involved.
Oh, yes.
Which we have a lot of tips also to look at later. It's not a big con. It's just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
What about with you?
I would say the fact that it's reservation only, coming again, I keep referencing these other companies and things, but coming from, working from other companies, one of the biggest benefits of Cambly is the flexibility. I can work whenever it's not, you're required to work this time. But because Cambly Kids is reservation only, you can't just, wake up on a Saturday morning and go, hey, the kids are asleep, I'm going to sneak in a little PH here and make a few extra dollars. No, you can't really do that on Cambly Kids. You have to, reserve these classes in advance.
Right.
But with that being said, that does cut down a little on that mega flexibility that we talk about. But again, like you said, you still have Cambly Classic.
Right.
It's not like, oh, I didn't get, reserved this morning, or I thought I wasn't going to be available, but I am, and now I can't take any classes. Yes, you can.
Mhm.
You can still go on Cambly Classic, take a priority hour, open up some reservations, set yourself available, for example.
Mhm.
You can really work with Cambly and Cambly Kids from anywhere, any, situation. It does provide that flexibility. Again, just to keep in mind, it is slightly limited when
Right.
you're working only on Cambly Kids.
Right. And that, honestly, it's one of those cons that's also a plus, right? Because like you said, you can travel anywhere. So, recently I went from being here in North Carolina to I spent a couple months in Korea.
Oh,
And, that's a it's the complete opposite time zone, the complete opposite.
Oh yeah.
So yes, I was able to do some of my kids that were, early in the morning. I was able to teach them at their regular time, but I had to open a whole new block of times that, normally would be like, 4 in the morning here, which I'm not going to do. That's great for those of you who can, but no.
Yeah.
But I had no problem filling those up. They filled up very quickly. And actually I met some kids who were just like one train stop down. And so that was kind of funny, so it was interesting culturally as well. But reservations fill up very quickly. It's not an issue. If I want to fill a time, if I open it on Cambly Kids, it gets filled so fast. So, it's a limitation, but it's also, kind of it's a guarantee as well. So I find it very nice.
Yeah, it is. And then, you've got the flexibility as well with, we talk about traveling, and we have lots of tutors who travel. You're one, I'm one.
Mm-hmm.
But you also have, stay-at-home moms, stay-at-home dads who are trying to find a way. Oh, my son's soccer game was canceled, for example. They might be looking for a way to fill those up. You can fill them. Like you said, Cambly Kids reservation gets eaten up just like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so now that we've talked about what Cambly Kids is, how do we sign up? Okay, so we're going to walk through the requirements and the sign up process and how to do your best on the demo lesson. So first off, what does CK require?
Well, you need to be a native English speaker, or you grew up speaking English, basically. You need to be at least 18 years old, and you definitely need a computer with high-speed internet access. There's no degree, no certification required, not even, experience or minimum hours. Thank goodness, you can just work however many hours and take a break when you need to.
Also, it's nice to have a background, but you don't need to. It's nice to have a really good headset. You don't need to. You can have props or puppets. You don't need to. I'd love to share some of mine. When I started out, I didn't have all this, but I just had my wall, and I went to a few clearance sections, and I think I found everything I needed for the demo. It was probably under $10, $15. And, you don't need to do that, but it helped me feel more confident and more prepared when I started my classes. So I found this little board that, it helped make my background a little more fun, and I could personalize it to the kids. I could add little rewards, I had little like snack stickers, and they would pick which one they wanted. And I put it up there like, oh, you want pizza today or a cookie? So that was fun. These little cute little toys, which, honestly, these are in the baby section usually, but I found them for like, I don't know, maybe $1 or $2, clearance section. And my little tip is check out the pet section in discount stores, because I found my pride and joy and the thing that all of the students love. This little guy, he's so cute, and I love sloths. Everything I have has sloths on it, but that's a reward too. And you can do a lot with this little guy, and I'm pretty sure in my demo he did some singing, but please don't go look. So just have some fun with it. I picked up some I had some little cat toys that were little like fluffy balls that were different colors. So that was really fun to like, okay, what color is that? And that kind of thing. But just think outside the box, is it shiny? Does it make noise? Does it show up well on camera? Because not everything does. So
very true.
Yeah, just think outside the box, and, just have a clear background,
Yeah. I love that you mentioned, you don't have to spend a lot of money to get started on Cambly Kids or to do your demo lesson or anything. You mentioned you could get started for, I think you said less than $10, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Everything was like $2, $3. I think the most expensive thing I had was the letter board. And,
Right.
that was probably under $10, $15. I think it was maybe missing some letters or something, but whatever.
As long as it has TEACHER.
Yeah, you could put your own tutor name but
Yeah.
just figure out what works for you. Uh, you know,
You can also print off like background stuff, rewards, everything. I had a little, it's not with me at the moment, but I had a little like ABC deck with just little printouts from the internet. I made tons of rewards that way. I think the first rewards I made were actually like hand-drawn little like ice cream. I had like a little ice cream cone and I would like stack, oh, you get another ice cream, every time. But that's getting into rewards and not backgrounds. But
yeah. And a whiteboard, a little handheld whiteboard that gives you so much flexibility. So,
if you're in the US or anywhere that has these, Dollar Tree is your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So sign up. Okay. So let's get into that.
We're going to put a link in the description down here. So click on this link to get started with your sign up process, and current Cambly tutors can sign up from your profile. So when you're logged into your Cambly account, you're going to want to go to the profile tab up at the top of your screen. And then right on the right-hand side up at the top, you'll see Tutor on Cambly Kids, I think it says, with a little Camblito icon. Click on that and voila, now we're all on the same page, whether you're just getting started or you're moving your profile over to Cambly Kids from Cambly Classic.
Yeah, and a little important note, if you are tutoring on Cambly Classic, be really careful that you don't create another profile, a duplicate profile. Just add to the one you have. It's going to be much easier because they're both Cambly. It's the same platform. Cambly Classic and Cambly Kids is different, but it's going to be, when you look at it, it's the same place. So your calendar is going to be merged. The payments come through the same place. When you log in, it's the same place. So you don't want to try to separate that. And, also it slows down the process. So keep those together.
Yeah, exactly. It's like two branches on the same tree, basically.
There you go.
So everything's going to be in the same place if you keep it on the same account. If you try to make a separate account, things are going to get confusing. Oh, I need to log out of this account and log into this one, and you're going to be late for classes. Nobody wants that.
Yeah, and also it's just it makes it clear to your students who you are. It helps you keep your they know who you are. Sometimes I've had situations where a parent really enjoys my classes with their child, and they end up signing up on Classic for themselves with me. So, and if so that makes it much easier.
It does. Yeah, it really does. Obviously, we would love for everyone to join Cambly Classic and Cambly Kids. You're not required to join, Cambly Classic if you don't want to, but it does give you that extra flexibility that we talked about earlier. If you're looking for a way to make some extra cash when the kids are asleep or the soccer game is canceled, like we discussed before, Cambly's a great way to do that. So it's actually a little bit easier to create your profile for Cambly Kids if you're already on Cambly Classic as well, because there's a handy little, we'll see this a little later, but there's a handy little import profile information button. So you don't have to type everything again, just click and everything's there, voila, so no, you don't have to join Cambly Classic if you don't want to. Obviously, we'd like for you to, but if you do join Cambly Classic, we suggest that you make your profile for Cambly Classic first, so that way you can just import everything from there. And we also have a great video from Molly about how to set up your Cambly Classic profile, and we'll make sure to include that in a link below as well.
I also really love the video about what not to do. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's funny and
do it
it's
there
also
too.
educational
Yeah,
because this is how to fail your Cambly profile. I think that's the name of the video, actually, how to
I
fail
think so.
your Cambly profile. So might be helpful to look through those. You'll have a laugh and you'll also know, oh, so I shouldn't eat, mouthful food while I'm applying.
Yeah, it's a little fun. So,
Yeah.
all right.
So creating your profile, submitting your profile to Cambly Kids. How do we do that? Let's get started. When you go to the link that we've provided, you're going to see, two little options here. You'll see Cambly Classic or Cambly Kids. Obviously, it's entirely up to you if you decide to go the Cambly Classic route. Then you'll get a handy little welcome to Cambly Kids screen, little let's get started button down at the bottom. Click on that button. And here is the beginnings of your Cambly Kids tutor profile.
Yeah, and there's that button you were talking about.
Yeah,
right there under the paragraph.
I see it there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's good to go ahead and start with Cambly Classic because,
Exactly.
all done. Okay.
Exactly. That's the little make my life easy button. We should rename that button, make my life easy.
Yeah. So here you're just going to, it's pretty self-explanatory. It says add your basic info. This is not only are we going to see this, but parents are going to be seeing this and, and their children and deciding, okay, is this a good fit? So really, show your personality, show, your experience and what you like and what your teaching style is, just explain who you are, because you're going to be spending time with these people. So, I think in mine, I talked about like some of my hobbies and, I like animals and I like art and that kind of thing. So just, tell them about yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Tell them about yourself. The video from Molly is really great for, your Cambly Classic profile. You're going to want to make your Cambly Kids tutor profile that much more sort of colorful and energetic as we discussed, high energy with the students and everything. You're going to want to go, just that extra step because you will have a separate profile video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can.
Because you will have a separate profile video for Cambly Kids. So you can just do it, that little step higher in energy, color, for example.
Mm-hmm.
And background is not required, but little, finger puppets, anything like that will really make your profile stand out.
Yeah, I had a little stuffed penguin just flapping around, hi. So, and, honestly, I had some people go, oh, I picked you because I liked your penguin. So, just have fun. Yeah. And this does need to, 1 to 3 minutes, needs to be about 1 to 3 minutes, make sure you're not, don't speak super, super quickly, people are learning English. So, rate your speech in a way that is understandable and, be friendly and fun. And it's okay to record it over and over. I know I did. I was really nervous. I'm nervous now. So that's okay. That's okay. So if you need to record it over and over, that's fine. Just show your personality.
Yeah, exactly. Let it shine through. And I love that you mentioned speaking your rate of speech, because especially with kids, the parents are going to be watching this video to determine if you're a good tutor for their children. But I've had, students come back to me and say, oh, I watch your video all the time and I love your video, or, oh, you changed your video, so the kids really like watching them too.
Yeah.
So lower that rate of speech just that bit more, again, for your Cambly Kids profile.
I've actually had that as well. Like I changed, it had been a couple years and, I changed my profile picture just a couple weeks ago. I had bangs and red hair. So it was time. So they were like, oh, you changed your picture. It's not like this anymore. It's like this. And I just thought that was, oh, that's sweet. People notice.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that's also a good point. You can change it later. You can update it, so yeah. Also, while you're doing it, you need to make sure you're following the dress code. So, you know, it's a professional, like a university level kind of dress code. You don't need to be in like a suit and tie or something like that, or
Right.
whatever the equivalent is. But you do need to, you know, have, you know, modest attire. You don't want to show shoulders because, you know, we are dealing with many cultures and children, you know, so, you know, no shoulders and not super low, you know. And if there is any kind of like logos or writing or something, you just want to make sure that it's not, you don't want anything that's a little bit iffy.
18 plus, keep it, you know, 18
Yeah.
under. We don't want anything 18 plus sort of, you know.
Yeah. Like I have a little t-shirt that I wear sometimes that has a little kitten on it. That's okay. You know what I mean? And actually they like that anyway. So yeah. So that's just something to note. You also want to have things behind you to be very clean, you know.
Speaking of things behind you, the sound, the environment is pretty important as well when you're recording your video. Just like you would in a class, keep it quiet. You know, if it's at all possible, we know, you know, everyone's busy, everyone, big families and things, especially, you know, lockdowns and, you know, COVID era. But even though everyone's at home, if it's at all possible, try to record your video somewhere where it's quiet, where you have good sound. If we can't hear you, the students can't hear you, the parents can't hear you, they won't click on your profile. So good sound, good lighting as well. We, you know, if I can't see you, I'm probably not going to click on, you know, the profile of someone I can't see, of, you know, great lighting versus, you know, pitch black over here. I'm probably going to go with the one with the lighting. So
yeah. And you don't have to, you know, spend a crazy amount on lighting. You know, when I did it, I did not have all of that equipment. You know, now I have like a ring light and, you know, a paper lantern and a big window here. But when I started, I just placed myself near a window. So it was seeing me here. And I also had like a little tiny rechargeable ring light, the kind you put on your phone, that was like, you know, another clearance thing, I'm sure. So just enough that, you know, we can see you. We don't want to be, you know, in the shadows.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a good point. Natural lighting is awesome for tutoring and for recording, you know, a video. Now, obviously, when it starts getting dark, you might want to turn some lights on in there, but natural lighting is great for recording your video.
Yeah. And also, speaking of other things that are around you, we want to, you know, pets are cute and we love our pets. I love my pet, but we don't want to put the pet in the video. So try to, or people, try to avoid the situation of like people and animals walking by, because we do want to have a, you know, a feeling of, you know, it's professional, also, you know, private, you know, so it's one-on-one. Okay, let's see. And what is the next step? We have to fill out the information about ourselves.
So that's your intro video. Introduce yourself to us, introduce yourself to Cambly and to your students. The rest of the profile page is pretty explanatory, pretty self-explanatory. Again, Molly has a great video about what to put on your profile, how to attract students to your profile. I do want to mention briefly though, let's scroll down with me, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and you'll see teaching certificates. Now, as we mentioned before, these are not required. You don't have to have any qualifications or certificates, degrees, etc. But if you do happen to have a degree, certificate, you know, whatever you have, awesome. We'd love to see it. We'd love to be able to let your students know that you're certified in, you know, TEFL, TESOL, whatever you've certified in. So down at the bottom, you have this add teaching certificates. You can upload a file, which is a picture of your degree, certificate, whatever. For your privacy, we want to make sure you know this is not seen on your profile. Parents, students can't see your name. They can't see, you know, what university you attended. All we do is check these, and then we give a little mark on your profile to let parents and students know that you are a certified TEFL, TESOL teacher, for example. Okay, and that's pretty much it with the Cambly Kids profile, filling out your, your basic information. Then we go to supplemental questions. Gail, would you like to tackle those?
Yeah, sure. So this is, your basic, why Cambly? So just, students and parents aren't going to see this. The only ones who are going to see this are the ones who are, onboarding. Yeah, I'll see it. Okay, so you can just say hi. No, I'm kidding. Just say, why Cambly? Tell us, why did Cambly appeal to you? You can add a little extra something about yourself. But again, this is something the students and the parents aren't going to see, so it is private. So you can express yourself here and let us know, anything extra you want us to know. And also, right below that, it's where did you hear about Cambly? So just add that in because, that's helpful to know. That's helpful to know. So after that, demo lesson.
I would say this is probably kind of what trips people up a bit when they're filling out they're submitting their profile. Would you agree?
I know it made me nervous. Yeah, because you're talking to yourself. So that's
exactly.
That's it was a little bit that was new to me. I'm sure for many of you, it might not be the first time. For me, it was the first time. So you're going to want this to be like 3 to 5 minutes long.
Mm-hmm.
A very important thing, when you do the demo lesson, you will see a demo lesson. So it is a Cambly lesson. It's important you do that lesson, even if you've already recorded another demo lesson and it's awesome. That's great, but don't upload that one here. So we want to see how you handle this particular lesson. So just do that one.
Yeah. And you can find the lesson. It's right above the upload and record square that you have there. It's lesson slides. So you click on that. You'll see the lesson. You have all the time in the world to prepare your video. As you mentioned before, you can record multiple times if you need to. Pro tip from someone who's done lots of demos for lots of other companies: pretend that you're speaking to one specific person. If you have a favorite, we don't have favorites, but if you have a favorite student, pick a name and say that name, Sally, Amy, George, whoever, use that name in your demo lesson. If you haven't taught a student online before, use one of your kids' names, hi, little Gale.
Yeah, and also that's a really good point. You need to, it's like talking to an imaginary friend or something. This is not, I think when I started, I wasn't familiar with that. So I wasn't sure if I should explain what I'm gonna do or actually do it. So what you don't want to do is, okay, so now I would like introduce myself to the kid and then I'm going to explain how to do this. And then we just want to see the actual, just pretend. And also the students and parents aren't going to see this. So don't worry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're not going to post it on YouTube. It's not going in the next, how to not do this video. We promise. It's just for us to see, your TPR. How well do you do this? How well do you, slow down your rate of speech, or how many times do you repeat? Students need repetition. How many times do you repeat a word, for example? Show off your teaching skills.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. If you're really good at something, I know, Crystal's good at singing. And if you're, go ahead and, show off what you're really good at. TPR, if you've got like a puppet and it's got a little character, bring that guy in. So, we want to see, like you said, use your TPR, watch your rate of speech, and and watch that you're speaking clearly. Watch that you're not doing a lot of what I've been doing probably this entire lesson or this entire video. You want to be safe. You want to leave that out.
Read over the lesson a few times as well, I think. So don't, this is my first time looking at the lesson and I'm recording my demo, look over it a few times, be familiar with what you're going to do. And then you can just, again, try again. If you didn't like your first run through, go through it again until you get it right.
And also the same with the profile video. You want to, watch the dress code, watch the lighting, make sure the background is clear. It's not noisy. So it just show us how you would teach. If you were teaching right now, what would it look like?
Yes, exactly. Perfect.
So, after that, what happens?
So the last part of the profile submission process is the connection test. Basically, again, it is a requirement. You have to have a computer with a high-speed internet access for teaching on Cambly. So we're going to do a quick connection test, make sure everything looks good, everything sounds good, everything's working correctly. You're just going to click on Start Test down there, and voila, there you go. Once you've completed your connection test successfully, you can click on Submit, and your profile has been submitted to Cambly for review. Woo!
Yeah, so that's a common question. So how long is it going to take?
Oh,
depends. Yeah. So, how long did it take for you?
Oh man, that was, like you said, that was like how many years ago? I'm not sure. I know I had been teaching on Cambly for about a month, I think, and then I got the invitation. I don't remember it taking long at all. I don't think I had to sort of redo anything. I was very lucky that I was experienced with making demo lessons and things like that. So I think I got approved pretty quickly. But anything could happen. Anything could sort of slow down the process, unfortunately. That could be, maybe you forgot to include the demo lesson. Maybe you submitted a demo lesson that you sent to another company and it didn't cover the material that was on, our request. Anything could slow down the process.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. Make sure to check your email. Make sure Cambly emails are not ending up in your spam folder, because if there is any issue, like maybe there's a missing profile picture, or something wrong with the profile picture or a video, there will be an email sent to you requesting that gets corrected. So just keep on the lookout for that. Yeah, I think mine was weirdly, it was approved within like 2 or 3 hours. Because so I still remember exactly before I went on a trip. I recorded my Cambly Kids demo and everything, and when I stopped at the rest stop, I got the message. So I was like, woo!
Wow.
Yeah, but that is like really fast. So sometimes it could take a couple weeks. It could take a few days. So just keep checking the email. Don't send another one. So just wait, and it's based on a few different things.
Right. So it's not just, the profile itself. It's also, do we need more tutors right now? Supply and demand. We don't want to oversaturate the market, have too many tutors, and then there aren't enough students to go around. Right. So there are times when we will kind of slow up on the process deliberately so that we don't have, too many tutors flooding the marketplace, as it were.
Right. So if it takes a little while, don't get upset and don't get afraid, because it just might not be the moment, right, of need. But that is a really big plus of Cambly. At some places, there are a lot of tutors and people have a hard time getting classes. So this is a good thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So just
making sure that you've got enough students.
yeah. So yeah, it's just supply and demand. So hang in there.
Hang in there and just keep checking your profile as well.
Yeah.
Check your email. Again, you will get any notification of anything that you need to correct, and check your profile. You can log back into your profile, look at your profile that you've submitted, and, hopefully correct anything that needs correcting, and get onboarded. And just don't give up, be patient. You'll get it.
Yeah. So, but that's it, so that's Cambly Kids. That's how to sign up. That's what you need and how to do it really well. So it's everything you really need to know. So now we did ask everybody to write in their questions down here in the comments. So
We've
we're
been
gonna
okay.
so we're gonna try to answer some of your questions with a quick audience Q&A. So let's see. The first one is about peak times. So what are the peak times? What are the best times to tutor? You want to answer that, Crystal?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, we have students from all over the world. Peak times vary. You may get specific set of students interested in you because of your time zone, because of your profile, because, for example, you speak Portuguese. So all of the, students from Portugal and Brazil are like, oh, I want that tutor. There could be something on your profile that it attracts a specific set of students to you. But peak times vary. Interesting fact about peak times is that we occasionally have bonuses on Cambly Kids for peak times. If we're noticing that we need lots of tutors or we have an influx of students at a specific time, we may, run a bonus. Hey, if you work these times, you'll get, this much, for example. That's something to keep an eye out for.
Yeah. And I know for me, I just kind of, I just tried different times a day and saw what worked for me and saw, I think eventually I just kind of let students pull me in whatever direction. So, I noticed I was getting more reservations during a certain time. And then eventually, as I got to know those students, I found out which times were most convenient for them. And I just kind of arranged, according to my students. So, it's going to differ with everybody. So, but, like we said, reservations fill up quickly and pretty much any time of day that I've ever tried, they fill up quickly. So, it's not going to be as critical as with some other places.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, what about since we were talking about other places, I know I haven't tutored with other companies, but you have. So what about working on other, or, with other platforms? What is that okay?
Of course, absolutely. Absolutely. No, you can never work with anybody else. No, I'm kidding. No, of course. I mean, I have done this. I'm technically still doing this. So when I first joined Cambly and Cambly Kids, I was working on another platform, which shall remain nameless. But that platform stopped at sort of 8 a.m. Eastern time. I was in North Carolina at the time. So that platform stopped at about 8 a.m. And when that platform stopped, I had no way to make money. So that's ultimately one of the things that brought me to Cambly and Cambly Kids. I submitted my profile and I was able to supplement my hours from that platform with Cambly Kids or Cambly Classic, so that I could make the amount of money that I needed to make to meet my, my financial goals, for example, between both platforms. You can, it's easy. You can do, Monday, Wednesday, Friday on Cambly Kids and Tuesday, Thursday on your other platform, or mornings only if that's, peak availability on another platform, and do afternoons on Cambly Kids. That's what I did for a very long time. And it works, that's the great thing with having international students.
Mhm.
Sometimes students in a certain country aren't taking lessons. It's a holiday, it's a national day there. They're on
Mhm.
vacation, for example. So
Mhm.
things might slow down elsewhere, but you can easily pull in students from another country,
Right.
another platform, for example. It's a great way to supplement your earnings. So yes, absolutely, you can work with multiple platforms.
Yeah. Well, that's
Living
awesome.
proof.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So another question we had is about the tutor cancellation policy. So yeah. So in our guide it goes over this in detail. So just make sure you read through the tutor guide. That's another thing. Just read through that whole thing. Before you start. It's a lot, but I found it very, very helpful with knowing, what I was doing. That's always good. So it does explain the cancellation policy. This is a little different between Cambly Classic and Cambly Kids. So can you explain what the Cambly Classic cancellation policy is? And then I can explain the Cambly Kids one so we can see how it's a little different.
Sure, of course. So obviously we want you to cancel if you have to cancel, last resort. But if you have to cancel, cancel as far in advance as you possibly can. Ideally, we're looking at, more than 24 hours in advance, if at all possible. That way your students know I need to find another tutor so I don't lose my minutes for today, for example. So how is that different from Cambly Kids?
Okay, so the main difference is the students it's a reservation only platform. So on Classic, if you look at it from a student point of view, I think it's a little easier. So on Classic, if I'm a student on Classic and my tutor cancels, I can quickly find someone else. If I'm a student on Cambly Kids and my tutor cancels, I cannot quickly find someone else. So there is a minimum amount of time before booking. And so, it can kind of get a little difficult the closer to that time it gets. So you want to give as much notice as possible and do it as little as possible, So, if you're not sure of your schedule, wait till you are,
Exactly.
if you're sick or you're not feeling well, just go ahead and rest. You don't need to book those times and then cancel last minute.
Yeah.
Just, err on the side of caution there. And that's okay. Yeah. You just want to keep that to as very little as possible. The other thing is, with the kids, their minutes do not roll over.
Right.
So they get a certain amount. And if you cancel, that can, they lose class time. So, you just want to think of it from the student's point of view. And I feel like that's the best way. So
Yeah,
just,
I agree.
yeah, if you have to. Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
make it rare and also communicate, like, I live in the South on the East Coast. So, there have been times that I'm like, hey, there's a storm coming, I have to cancel. So just communicate that instead of just canceling. I let my students know, hey, there's going to be some, serious weather. I'm not sure if I'm going to have internet. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel this class so that you have time to find another tutor. And they really appreciate that. So it's
Yeah.
much better to do it ahead of time than to wait till last minute.
Yeah, exactly. As you mentioned before, Cambly Kids reservations fill up super quickly. So if they don't know until the last minute, it's going to be very hard, as you said, for them to find another Cambly Kids tutor who's available, in the next 4 hours. And that's even if they can make a reservation within that time. As you said, there's a minimum time frame. I want to say it's 2 hours.
Yeah, it depends on what the student or the tutor is signed up for. I believe it. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe if they're reservation only, if the tutor is only open reservation slots, I believe it is 6 to 12 hours, depending on the setting for the tutor. The only time I think it's less than that is if the tutor has signed up for PH.
Exactly.
And, in that case, then,
Right.
an adult or a kid can book.
Exactly. Yeah. So absolutely cancel as far in advance as you possibly can.
Yeah.
And speaking of, cancellations, it goes in. Speaking of cancellations, it goes in reverse. It goes the other way. Sometimes the student can't make it to the reservation. So what happens if a student can't show up? Well, tutors are paid to wait for the first 10 minutes of a confirmed reservation. After the first 10 minutes, it's up to you. It's up to you what you do. But you are, again, you're paid for the first 10 minutes that you spend waiting for your reservation to show up. I usually try to give it until minute 11.
Yeah, me too.
just to be on the safe side. So wait until 11 minutes. And then again, it's up to you. If you are a tutor on Cambly Classic, you're welcome to take a priority hour. You're welcome to set yourself available. Whether you're on Cambly Classic or not, you're welcome to sign out of you're welcome to sign out of the platform. Look over the lesson for your next class, go get something to drink, have a cup of coffee. What you do with those minutes after 10 or we'll say 11 is entirely up to you. But yes, just wait for 11 minutes just to be on the safe side. And you're paid waiting for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, and you can always just send a little message to your student like, hey, sorry I missed you, or that kind of thing. And sometimes they're like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm signing on. So it happens to everybody,
Yeah.
Or they might be like, oh, I have internet problems or something like that. Communication is always good.
Yes,
right?
Especially with kids.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so referrals. Okay, so this is where you refer a friend or someone let them know about Cambly Kids. Absolutely share this video, because hopefully hopefully it's helpful. This is really good for both. And actually we have a good video that we can link down here about how that referral system works. Yeah. Do you have any experience with that, Crystal? I know I've referred like one or two.
Yeah, well, it's funny because as I mentioned before, it wasn't for Cambly Kids, but I was actually referred to Cambly by my fiance.
Oh,
so I don't have any referees. Or is that referees? I don't have any, but I'm a referee. Totally misusing the English language here. Anyway, yeah, so we do have an exciting program, like you said, for referrals. You earn $20 per referral, so that's pretty nice. That's Cambly or Cambly Kids. And if your friend is, the person that you refer is approved for Cambly Kids, you get an extra $10. So that's a maximum of $30 referral. It's pretty nice. We have a great referral tracking system, so you can see how's the process going. Has your referral been approved? Where's my money? You can see all of that on your profile now. So it's really great, and we need lots of great tutors. So share this video, sign up and share. Spread the love.
Yeah.
So we also had another question about regulations affecting, availability and things like that. As many of you who are watching are probably aware, there have been some recent regulations announced that mean, there's a big change in how ESL companies are allowed to operate inside of specific countries. And in this case, we're talking about China. So obviously, as we've mentioned several times, Cambly is an international platform. We understand that, tutors are going to be worried, how does this affect? We also may have, many prospective tutors watching, wondering, can I join Cambly Kids, due to the changes with my other platform. Again, we're an international platform. We have students from all over. We are still, accepting profiles. We're still onboarding new tutors. again, there are lots of different countries represented in our student base. So we don't anticipate that being a problem. You know, Cambly's not shutting down, for example. We're not going anywhere.
Yeah, and my reservations have not dropped at all. Still busy. Yeah, speaking of which, so when you're scheduling, how do you get a full schedule? Do you have any scheduling tips? Because once you get that email and you're like, okay, welcome to Cambly Kids, what do you do? Right? So I want to put in a little tip based on mistake that I made. I jumped right in the deep end and really scheduled a lot of time for myself. Don't do that. So take care of yourself, find out, start a little bit and see what schedule works for you gradually. So one tip that I would like to give you is schedule breaks. I know I've heard that some platforms that comes out of class time, but with Cambly Kids, your class is a full 30 minutes,
Right.
30 minutes. So if you have a break, you need to schedule that break. So I personally like to do, a couple hours and then a break and then a couple hours and then a break. So that helps me make sure that I get the rest that I need, that I don't wear out my voice or my energy,
Yeah.
So yeah. What about you? Do you, what tips do you have for, when you schedule, anything that's worked for you?
Honestly, I feel like you've covered most. It's
Okay.
just, remembering that it's, other platforms may have, 25-minute lessons with a 5-minute break. That's not how things work on Cambly Kids. It's a 30-minute reservation. So if you open an hour of availability, you can expect to be tutoring for that hour. So again, I wouldn't do more than, a couple of that would be the maximum I would do at a time, even if you only take, a 15-minute break, just to stretch your legs. People get leg cramps and things. Get some water, get a glass of water, use the restroom, get something to eat. Again, just like if you've looked at the what not to do video, we can't be eating in class, just like we can't eat in our profile submission videos.
You can have water.
Yeah, you can have
coffee
water
or whatever.
Please drink water. You're talking, lots of hours, high energy with the students. Please do have a snack, but not on camera, not in class.
Yeah.
So schedule those breaks. Self-care. Can't stress that enough. Voice care, for example.
Oh yes.
It's very
I
important.
think many of us, when we start out, maybe deal with some hoarseness. I definitely did. And so I found one tip that I found. I had some noise canceling headphones, and I found that putting one ear in and one ear out helped me not.
Yeah, that's terrible. I do that too. Like,
yeah.
like
So
everybody in my house can hear the lesson. What were you teaching today?
it helped me dial it back a notch.
Yeah.
It also having a warm glass of something to drink and a cool glass of something to drink for some reason helps me. Just have it by, so take care of yourself, and it'll take a little while to get into the rhythm and know what schedule fits you best. And that's cool. That's cool.
Exactly. Don't schedule. That's another tip. Don't schedule when you know it's going to be a busy time in your household. For example, your children get off the bus at 3:15 p.m. Not a great time to have a class. They're going, Mom, Dad, or throwing he hit me, or whatever's going on in the household when the kids first come from school, or it's time for the dog to go out, for example. Know your schedule and schedule accordingly. And again, self-care, take breaks. You mentioned, the hoarseness, and I believe we have a great video from Lynn about voice care when you're tutoring. I think she's a voiceover artist as well, which is super amazing. So yeah, she gave lots of great tips on how to save your voice while tutoring. So that's a great video to watch as well. So go find that, click here or something.
Yeah, like and subscribe, because we're always
Yeah.
adding here. And you
Yeah.
know, this wasn't here when I started. I really wish it was. It's very
Yeah.
helpful, you know, and it's nice to see other tutors and, you know, get to know each other and hear other experiences and hear some tips. So and that's another thing is, speaking of tips, you know, we have a Facebook group for Cambly Kids, and you'll get the link to that in your email. And that's a really good place to get, you know, suggestions. We had some really fun prop suggestions recently. And so, you know, there's a lot of resources.
Lots of
there's a blog as well. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a blog. There's lots of resources on it. It's called Cambly Kids Corner. Competitions as well, interaction between tutors, you know, tips and tricks, what's worked for me, for example. So that's a really great. I'm glad you mentioned that. So we'll definitely put that in the description as well. So the next question is, what does the classroom look like?
Well, I mean, you saw something similar when you did the demo video. So, you know, it's slides. So there's little buttons, little numbers, you click the slides and you see slides, and, you know, it's very flexible. You know, as far as what speed you go, you know, it's up to you. You know, you'll get a feel for, you know, how fast or slow a student needs to go, you know. So, and we also have, you know, some new features where we have little games and extra activities. I love those, you know, and so do my students. So, you know, maybe, you know, just take a little break here and there with, you know, they're reading and doing all this stuff. And then as a reward, you know, they get a star, and then, okay, let's describe this picture of a cute animal or whatever. So, you know, kids love that.
They love drawing on the screen and
yes,
little tic-tac-toe games or things like that, writing on the screen. They really enjoy those tools. So we have some great in-class tools as well, but we're going to go over those in more detail, more description about the classroom in the next Cambly Kids live stream. So please make sure you stay tuned for that. I think that's all the time we have for today.
Yeah. Like and subscribe.